Keks are Cucks. They just haven't figured out yet who's cucking them.
Yeah, you heard me. Keks are Cucks. And I'm going to be exploring this topic in a series of videos beginning now. Now look, let's get this out of the way up front. I'm never going to agree completely with social justice warriors. If you tell me that I can't say that Ghostbusters 2016 is just a really bad movie, then we're going to disagree. If you're going to tell me that I have to be outraged that Scarlett Johansson is playing the Major in a movie, we're going to disagree. If you're going to tell me that I'm a transphobe because I don't personally want to date Riley Dennis, we're gonna disagree. I get it. Social justice warriors have a lot of bad ideas sometimes. And I admit, if we were living in a slightly different world where Hillary Clinton was president, I would probably be making a lot of videos about social justice warriors in an effort to perfect my beloved liberalism. But we're not living in that world. And whatever annoying things SJWs say, it's nothing compared to the crap coming from the alt-right, from the Keks, the Gamergators, the incels, the Jordan Peterson fans, the Sargon fans, the Peppy the Frog posting white supremacist edgelord twerps, the 4chan tards, you people, the Keks. You are far worse than any social justice warrior could ever be. And yes, it is a spectrum. It goes from the worst of the worst, which are genuine little white supremacist assholes who are willing to act on their beliefs, all the way down to the edgelords who just think that, you know, racism is hilarious and funny. It's a spectrum of shit, but it all stinks. To me, the weirdest thing about this new online racism that's so popular with the young people is that, in a way, it's not real racism. Well, it's not traditional racism. This isn't racism that kids have inherited from their parents. It's not the racism of people who have actually gone out into the world and worked jobs and worked with people of other races and decided that they like theirs the best and that all others are crap. It's like a weird, assumed racism. It's a pose. It's something that young dumb men are doing in order to reject their parents, to rebel against them. I was reading these long threads on Twitter the other day, and they were pointing out about how all this Milo Yiannopoulos, feminism is cancer, it's okay to be white, black people suck, all that stuff, it's flourishing in rich, prestigious, mostly white British boarding schools. Like, what the fuck? It's something that these kids pick up because it's transgressive, not for any other reason in the real world. I mean, come on. I got my ass kicked by some black kids in middle school. It didn't turn me into a racist, so what the hell do you rich British kids have to whine about? I guess on some level I do understand it, though. Being a racist little kek, that's like the last unacceptable thing that you can possibly do in our liberal society. These days, if a kid says that they have a drug problem, that they're the wrong gender, that they're suicidal, that they have all these emotional issues, their parents and their teachers will hug them and tell them it's okay. But spreading racist propaganda online, that's like the one thing that a kid can do today that will make their mom cry and make their dad punish them and make their teacher say, "Look out, this is dangerous, this kid is fucked up, it's forbidden." Back in my day, we just tried to wear torn jeans and pretend to be heavy metal Satanists. See, when me and my friends were growing up in the 80s and 90s, nobody wanted to be perceived as a racist because being a racist was uncool. Somewhere between Will Smith and Snoop Dogg, the heavy metal kid racists kind of made their last stand. But then that was it. One of the most epic fights I ever saw on the school bus back in 7th grade, it was between this redneck girl. She was smarting off and saying, "Hell yeah, I'm prejudiced. Black people ain't as good as white people. That's what my daddy says." And then some black girl slapped the shit out of her for 5 minutes or something. And the bus driver couldn't do anything about it because they were in heavy traffic. I mean, nobody wanted to be that redneck girl. Nobody wanted to be that uncool. So the fact that there's a large subsection of young people who think that racism is cool again, it's just very confusing to me. I guess the upside is that a lot of these kek racist kids, hopefully they'll grow out of it. Hopefully it's just a phase. And I know about phases. From about 1994 to 1996, I was an official Ayn Rand fan, an objectivist, a Randroid. Oh God, I gave this girl in 12th grade a copy of The Fountainhead as a birthday present. It was so embarrassing. But then I started college and made some friends, learned how to smoke weed, and all that shit was gone. My advice to any of you young kek kids is always use fake names online. Don't ever let this kek shit get attached to your real name because you will live to regret it. Because when you grow up and get a job and start paying bills and taxes and driving a car and stuff, you're not going to want this attached to you. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. You don't want to grow up to be an adult white supremacist. Because come on, let's take a look at these people. Look at this guy, Robert Stacey McCain. You don't want to grow up to be like this guy. Or even worse, let's take a look at one of his middle-aged acolytes. Let's take a look at this asshole called Zaklog the Great. He has his own YouTube channel. You can check it out. Here's a sample of his work.
I was recently in an argument about the idea of differences in average IQ between the races. If you've never heard of this before, there's evidence that there are significant differences in the average IQ of various races of humanity. Jews and East Asians have higher IQs. Next, white Europeans, then American blacks and Hispanics, then black native Africans. All this data is available elsewhere. I'll provide a link in the show description.
Yeah, don't you want to be just like that guy, kids?
Right here. Come on, boy. Come on, big boy. Right here.
That's right, Keks. Keep it up. Maybe one day you'll go online and call yourself Wolf Nipple Chips and say racist crap just like you did when you were a kid, making dumb jokes about how you wish black people were still slaves, but then you have to feed them, you know. No thanks. Maybe you can be a sick motherfucker like Zaklog, this linguini-haired piece of shit. You can say things like, in light of recently learning a little about the history of South Africa, both pre- and post-apartheid, I'm increasingly unsure it was evil at all. From a purely pragmatic perspective, it appears to have been better for both whites and blacks than what has emerged since. You've been lied to.
Apartheid in South Africa crumbled after Nelson Mandela walked to freedom, but black people suffered decades of government-backed injustice before it did. Apartheid really began in 1948, but separating black Africans from the white minority had long been a policy aim. Laws made white people officially superior, and the large black majority faced discrimination in every aspect of their lives. Living, doing business or owning land in white areas was banned. There were separate public facilities, transport and schools. Interracial marriage was banned. Many had no right to citizenship and were regarded as aliens in major cities. Instead, they were made citizens of Bantustans, homelands scattered throughout South Africa. But resistance grew. In 1960, a huge peaceful protest against past laws ended in a massacre at Sharpeville. 69 people were killed. The deaths galvanized opposition, radicalizing liberation movements like the ANC. Open conflict erupted in the 1980s, with anti-apartheid activists frequently shot at, beaten or arrested. Mass protests were firmly put down. But, little by little, the apartheid establishment crumbled. After gradual reform, Nelson Mandela, imprisoned since not long after Sharpeville, was set free in 1990. 4 years later, he was elected as South Africa's first black president. Apartheid had ended.
Yeah, fuck you, Zaklog, you racist piece of shit. You fucking worm, you filth. Yeah, drink it in, kids. This is the face of white wussy supremacy. This is your virtuous paladin of the white race. Is this what you want to grow up to be? Hell no. Or hey, take a look at this other fuckhead. This guy, his name is...
My name's Jeff.
And he used to run a website called Protein Wisdom. It was fucking horrible. But apart from that, to my knowledge, he's been unemployed for over 10 years. His wife works and pays all the bills, and I'm not saying that's inherently wrong.
I mean, yeah, I can kind of see the appeal of being a kept man. I mean, just letting the woman have control over everything while you remain submissive. Ah, yes, mama. Yes, my all-powerful queen. That's nice.
But it is not alpha. It is not alpha whatsoever. The thing about this guy today is that he's one of those people who doesn't think that Idris Elba should play James Bond. Because, you know, Idris Elba's black, and James Bond is supposed to be white. But he's too stupid to realize that if Idris Elba was playing James Bond, then it would be part of the whole pass the torch theory. You know, that whole theory about James Bond, how James Bond is like a code name that's given to different agents over the years. So every time there's a new 007, it's someone who's had his real name and his real past erased from all the records. And he's given the name James Bond. And he has a license to kill. Because come on, if his actual legal name was James Bond, do you think he'd walk up to people and just tell them his name all the time, being a secret agent? No. So if Idris Elba does play James Bond, in all likelihood, we'd see Daniel Craig meet him on the way out. Daniel Craig would be retiring. He would say something really cool. And Idris Elba, who had a real name but will never know what it is, he would be given the name James Bond and he would be the new James Bond. Just like how when M died, she was replaced by a new M. That's how it works. That'd be the coolest thing ever. That would make the James Bond franchise actually make sense for once. Because it's not like the guy who was golfing with Goldfinger back in the fucking 1950s. That's not the same guy who was fighting the evil diamond-faced Koreans in the Ice Palace in 2005. You actually have to explain this to people like this motherfucker. The funny thing is, look at these tweets. Like, he just keeps bringing it up when that's not even the subject. It's like, brah, that's not even what your dude was talking about. You're just coming out of nowhere. Yeah, Black James Bond, that's a horrible idea, right? Yeah, man, I got a flat tire on the way to work. Yeah, man, flat tire. That's pretty bad, but it's not as bad as a Black James Bond, am I right? Just out of nowhere. It's just on his mind constantly. How fucking pathetic is that? Yeah, remember when they had that black actor play Nick Fury? That was horrible. Everyone hated it. I can't even watch those Marvel movies because it's like, that's not the real Nick Fury.
Motherfucker, I'm a mushroom cloud laying motherfucker.
You know, the one good thing about you white supremacist fucks is that I take some joy in realizing how you see shit in pop culture every day that sets you off.
Boo! Black James Bond. Boo! Black President. Ah! Brown girl. Ah! Brown girl who is also a lesbian. Oh! Brown girl who is made up of 2 lesbians. Boo! Black Panther. 1.3 billion at the global world box office. Bah! Peter Parker has 2 girls that he's interested in the new Spider-Man movie, and both of them are brown. Oh! And his best friend is some kind of large island man. How can this be today's world?
I honestly like Black Panther. I think it's pretty good for a Marvel movie. But what I love even more is that there were 10,000 alt-right Keks shitheads on YouTube who were just slavering at the possibility that it would slightly underperform at the box office. So then they could make videos about it.
Well. It looks like liberal Hollywood tried to shove their values down our throats again. When will they learn? Black Panther only made $500 million. What a flop.
You fucking know that would have happened. Look, I'm gonna get into the deeper issues later, but let's just say this. If you look like this, and your daughter looks like this, that's not a bad thing. Let's all fuck until we're caramel colored. You know what? I'm done for today. This is the first video in a series of many. Expect to see more of this, and you're damn well gonna like it. Until then, kids, repeat after me.
Keks or Cucks. They just haven't figured out yet who's cucking them.
Racist motherfucker.